there, I wanted to continue reading from our book, Passage to Fortune, and I am continuing to read with chapter 3. It's called Stowaway. So I'm going to do the same thing. I will show each page so you can get an idea of the context for the vocabulary words that I'm going to put in the description. And here we go. The moon hung over the water, its light reflected into broken splinters. Waves crashed on the shore, roaring in my ears. I never realized the sea was so loud. Usually, the dock was filled with the hum and chatter of people, but tonight no one was here. Just me and the roaring sea. Earlier, I'd slipped quietly from bed, careful not to wake Pierre St. Clair, who was asleep in the next room. I'd grabbed my clothes from under the bed where I'd stuffed them. Getting dressed was harder than I thought. I'd never dressed myself before. I'd always had servants to help me fasten buckles and knot strings. But somehow I managed, even though some of the buckles were askew. Here's the next page. Then I tiptoed down the stairs, unlatched the door, and stepped out into the night in my freedom. I had only the light of the moon to guide me to the harbor of St. Malo. Now I stood staring at the silhouette of Cartier's fleet, anchored offshore. How could I sneak aboard? I couldn't swim. I had no raft. The ships were tethered to the dock with long, thick ropes. I would have to climb along the ropes and pull myself to the deck. Was I strong enough to do it? I had no choice. My fate was in my own hands, quite literally. I looked down at the soft skin of my palms, which had never held anything thicker than horses' reins. I flexed my fingers. I was ready. I had to be. The Petite Hermine, the middle-sized ship, was the closest. Plus, Jacques Cartier would probably sail on the Grande Hermine. I didn't want him to discover me and realize I didn't belong. I had a better chance of avoiding discovery on the Petite. The Petite it is, I thought, taking a deep breath. I grasped the rope with both hands and lifted myself up, hooking my legs over the rope. So far, so good. Inch by inch, like a worm, I moved my body across the rope. Don't look down, I told myself, but I did anyway. Below me, the water was thick and black. If I fell, I was doomed. My arms shook. The skin of my palms felt like it was peeling off, but I had to keep going. At last, I neared the hull of the ship. Getting onto the ship would be the tricky part. I would have to drop my legs from the rope and swing over the railing of the ship, hoping my tired arms would be strong enough to hold my weight. 1, 2, 3. I loosened my legs and swung them back and forth to gain momentum. Then I let go. I flailed wildly in midair for one long second. Then, crash, I fell onto the deck. The sound echoed like thunder. Surely the entire crew had heard my ungraceful, noisy land, and surely I'd broken every bone in my body. I lay on the deck, panic and excitement battling inside me. I thought I heard footsteps, but it was only my heart kicking my ribs. No one had heard me. I was free. I was on board the Petite Hermine, and I was about to embark on the adventure of a lifetime. But first I had to hide. I lifted the latch that led below deck to the cargo hold. I dropped down into the blackness. I would stay hidden as long as it took, until we were so far from France and my father that there would be no turning back. Somehow I fell asleep in the damp, dark hold, hiding behind a long crate. I woke to the ship swaying and my stomach lurching. We'd set sail. I realized I hadn't taken a final look at St. Malo, my home. I might never see it again. I imagined how the city looked from the sea, its silhouette growing smaller and smaller while the sea got larger and larger, until St. Malo disappeared forever. I wiped my wet face. Surely I wasn't crying. No, it must be the dampness of the hold. The ship reeled violently, and I knocked against the ship's side, stomach whirling. I wasn't seasick. No, it must be something I ate. The thought of food made my stomach whirl again. I just needed sleep. I slid my body down the wall and closed my eyes. My head leaned against something soft. A nice pillow. Just as I was drifting to sleep, the pillow moved. I shot up straight. The pillow scurried away, its tail whapping me in the face. My warm, soft pillow was, in fact, a fat rat. I wasn't scared of rats. No, not at all. I just didn't want to be sharing quarters with one. Or maybe 2 or 3. I could hear nails skittering on wood. When I find my fortune, I thought, I will rid the world of rats. Last page. And that was chapter 3. Read the description for questions and vocabulary for this chapter.